I walked into my 17-year-old daughter Ellie's room that Saturday afternoon with a pile of her clothes and lingerie that had been freshly laundered and ironed. Little did I know of the surprise that would await me. No, it was not my daughter in bed with her boyfriend. To me, it was something even more surprising. There, in front of Ellie's full-length mirror, stood my son Tim, aged 15, his longish blonde hair framing the features of his face, holding his sister's new prom gown in front of him with a dreamy expression on his face as he stared at his reflection. I stood there, in stunned silence, watching my son pose and posture like a girl, imagining that he was wearing the gown he was holding. It took a few minutes before Tim realized that he was no longer alone. The instant he saw me, the blood drained from his face and he started to tremble. He stood there, speechless for a few seconds, before he tried to stammer out an explanation. "Mom, this is not what you think. I just was curious about Ellie's gown. I didn't mean any harm. I was just curious, that's all." He then hung the gown back on Ellie's closet door and tried to leave. However, I blocked the path of his escape. "Tim, we need to talk about this," I said. "First, help me put Ellie's things away and then we will discuss what has just happened here." While Tim put Ellie's soft, silky intimate apparel away, I hung up her blouses, skirts and dresses. I noticed that he seemed to caress Ellie's intimates in a way that told me this was not his first time venturing into her room or touching her lingerie. Also, he seemed to know exactly in which drawer in her dresser to put her bras, her panties and slips and her nightgowns, without any prompting from me. After leaving Ellie's room, we headed to the kitchen. There, I prepared a snack for Tim as we conversed. Seated at the table together, I inquired about the recent scene I had observed. Tim explained that his curiosity led him to try on the prom gown, with no intention to cause disruption. He assured me it was his first time acting in such a manner. I sat there and patiently listened to his defensive statements before I replied. "Tim, I don't think this was your first time in Ellie's room with her clothes. You knew exactly which dresser drawer to open to put away the different items of Ellie's lingerie. Ellie has also commented that sometimes she feels that a blouse or a dress has been moved because it is not where she expects it to be in her closet. Now, tell me the truth. This wasn't just an incidental thing, was it? You have been in Ellie's room before, playing with her clothes, haven't you?" Tim hung his head in shame and did not look at me. He spoke quietly and slowly when he replied to my questions. "Mom, all of Ellie's things seem so soft, even her underwear. When I compare her clothes to the plain cotton things I wear, especially the underwear, I just want to feel that softness close to my body. When I saw her new prom gown hanging on her closet door, I was simply overwhelmed. I just had to touch it and hold it, imagining how I would look in it. I'm sorry that I played with Ellie's clothes, and I promise I will never do it again." He was almost in tears when he finished. Observing my son, I realized his actions were surprising rather than criminal. Expressing my astonishment, I addressed him holding Ellie's gown. Reminding him of his past behavior as a good son, I acknowledged his sincere promise not to intrude on Ellie's belongings again. Understanding the difficulty of such promises, I suggested my support if he desired to explore wearing feminine attire. However, I needed clarity on whether he simply enjoyed dressing as a girl or desired a full-time transition. Looking up at me, Tim expressed, "Mom, I simply enjoy the sensation of the clothes. I don't have any desire to be a girl all the time. I just want to dress up occasionally and experience the comfort of feminine attire against my skin. If you're okay with it, helping me dress would be appreciated. But sometimes, when I wear Ellie's clothes, I feel conflicted about societal perceptions. People might judge me harshly if they knew." I told Tim that no one would find out unless he wanted them to know. As far as I was concerned, it was all right for him to dress as a girl in the privacy of our own home. I then asked him if he would like to properly experience being dressed. He looked at me with those big blue eyes of his and simply nodded his head. We then went to my room where I told him to undress completely. At first, he seemed a little embarrassed and reluctant to be standing totally bare in front of his mother until I reminded him that I used to change his diapers and had seen it all. He then quickly and unashamedly undressed. I directed him to the bathroom, where I instructed him to apply the depilatory cream found on the counter to his entire body, excluding his head and private areas. After applying the cream, he waited briefly before showering. Following his shower, he shampooed his hair. Once dry, I wrapped his damp hair in a towel turban style. Handing him skin softener and lotion, I advised him to apply it to his newly hairless and sensitive skin. Once finished, he was to return to my room. Tim was there in no time flat. While he had been washing, I had gone and gotten a few things from Ellie's room. Now, I handed him a white satin garter belt, which he neatly fastened around his waist. I handed him a pair of nylons and watched in amazement as he seated himself on my bed and carefully and quickly pulled them onto his legs and fastened them to his garters. "Mom, these nylons feel so much nicer now on my smooth skin," he said. White satin panties and a white satin bra were soon in place on his body. I had some of Ellie's silicone forms, from when she was starting to develop, which I put into the cups of the bra. Tim looked down on his girlish form with the B-sized chest and gasped. "Will the rest of me look this good when you are done?" he asked. I told him to wait and see. Tim also put a sanitary pad between his legs and properly tucked himself in. I helped Tim into a white satin waist nipper to help give him a more feminine waistline. It took a few seconds for him to get accustomed to the tightness of this garment and to be breathing properly. Over all of this, I had Tim put on a white satin, ankle-length full slip adorned with lace. His hands seemed to linger on the satin fabric covering his body once the slip was on. I then seated Tim at my vanity, facing away from the mirror, so that he wouldn't see his transformation while it was in process. Removing the towel from his hair, I quickly combed and sectioned it and put it on rollers. Soon his entire head was covered with various sized rollers, hairnet and the plastic hair dryer bonnet. While his hair was drying, I did his makeup in a fashion that would be suitable for a 15-year-old girl, including blush and pink lipstick. I then removed the dryer bonnet, net and rollers and styled his hair into a very pretty feminine style. Several squirts of hairspray and 2 hair clips placed on either side had the look complete. I then had my newly created daughter turn and look at herself in the mirror. She was amazed at what she saw. Looking back at her was the very image of a pretty teenager, her chest pushing out through the fabric of her bra and slip. As Tim admired his transformed appearance, I assisted in slipping his feet into 3-inch heels. Initially unsteady, he soon found his balance and walked comfortably. Next, I guided him into Ellie's prom gown, a mint green satin dress with a square neckline and a fitted waist that flared into a full skirt. As I prepared to add some finishing touches with jewelry, my daughter abruptly entered the room, distressed about finding a last-minute date for her best friend's brother. Ellie's reaction was immediate upon seeing I wasn't alone. After a brief pause, she questioned, "Who is this girl, and why is she wearing my new prom gown?" Meeting Ellie's gaze, I introduced Lisa as her new little sister. Ellie scrutinized Lisa before realization dawned. "Tim, is that really you?" Ellie exclaimed incredulously as Tim affirmed. "You look so natural in my prom gown, so pretty," Ellie remarked, surprised. She expressed joy at having a new sister, regardless of full or part-time status, embracing Lisa warmly. Lisa blushed at the compliment, touched by Ellie's acceptance. Ellie proceeded to instruct Lisa on the proper way to sit in a gown, ensuring the skirt fell gracefully around her. Lisa followed Ellie's guidance and settled on the bed. Ellie then resumed her earlier conversation, sharing Lauren's request for a prom date for her brother Don. Ellie proposed Lisa as a potential match and pleaded for my consent. I considered Ellie's suggestion and Lisa's agency before responding. While I acknowledged the viability of Lisa accompanying Don, I emphasized that the decision rested with Lisa herself. I declined to impose my will on her. Ellie turned to Lisa with a plea, reiterating her request. "Little sister, I'm asking for a big favor. Would you consider going to the prom with Don next week?" I could arrange a double date to ensure your comfort and safety. Saying yes would mean a lot to me. Please, for my sake, agree to go with Dawn. Lisa was taken aback by the sudden request. After a moment of contemplation, she expressed her reservations. Ellie, I'm not confident I could convincingly pass as a girl all night without being discovered. It would be embarrassing for everyone if I were exposed wearing a prom gown. Plus, I'm not skilled at dancing as a boy, let alone in a gown and heels. And finally, I don't have appropriate attire. Ellie and I both began addressing Lisa's concerns simultaneously, but I gracefully allowed Ellie to take the lead in addressing Lisa's doubts. Lisa, with your natural beauty, hair, makeup, and facial features, you already embody femininity effortlessly. If you look as stunning next Saturday as you do now, nobody will suspect a thing. Mom and I can guide you through everything from walking to talking to dancing like a young lady. We have the entire week to prepare you. And as for the gown, I affirmed Ellie's suggestions before proposing that Lisa change into something suitable for shopping, suggesting that the three of us could go out that afternoon to find her a perfect prom dress. The decision is entirely yours, Lisa. After a moment of contemplation, Lisa rose and embraced both Ellie and myself. Yes, I'd like to go to the prom, if you think you can make me look presentable. Ellie's excitement was palpable as she hugged her little sister tighter. Stepping back briefly, Ellie exclaimed, "You've even mastered walking in high heels, sis. You're growing up so fast." She then asked Lisa to lift her gown to inspect her legs, remarking on how great they looked, especially in heels. After another hug, Ellie expressed her gratitude to Lisa for agreeing to help. "I can tell you're enjoying this too," she added, to which Lisa blushed and smiled in response. While I assisted Lisa in changing out of the gown, Ellie phoned Lauren with the news. Upon her return, Lisa was dressed in a slip, white blouse, denim skirt, and 2-inch heels. Ellie informed Lauren of the alteration in the story. Lisa was now Ellie's cousin visiting from out of town. Lauren was pleased with the quick resolution. As we prepared to leave, Ellie addressed Lisa, stating, "You may play my cousin next Saturday, but the rest of the time, you're my little sister. Looks like we'll be sharing clothes just like real sisters." "Oh, and is that the faint rustling of plastic as you walk? Time of the month?" Lisa simply smiled and nodded at Ellie's query before Ellie embraced her once more. I assured them I would acquire a few items for Lisa's special wardrobe. Our first destination was the bridal and formal salon to find Lisa's prom gown. After browsing through the selection and discussing the merits of several options, Lisa chose 3 to try on in the fitting room. Ellie accompanied her inside to assist and provide feedback while I waited outside. The first gown Lisa emerged in was a delicate pink satin, but it didn't quite complement her coloring. The second, a red satin gown, didn't seem to fit her frame properly. Finally, Lisa appeared in a sleeveless royal blue satin gown with a scooped neckline and a full skirt. Before revealing it to me, I heard Lisa sigh and Ellie complimenting how nice it looked on her. When Lisa stepped out, I concurred with my daughter's assessment. The gown indeed suited Lisa beautifully. While Lisa dressed, Ellie and I discussed accessory options. Ellie proposed matching satin lingerie and dyeing heels to match the gown, which I agreed would ensure a cohesive look. She also suggested satin elbow-length gloves, not just for Lisa but for herself as well, which I found would enhance both of their appearances. We procured everything, including the 3-inch heels, with the assurance from the sales associate that they would be ready by Wednesday. After thanking her, we departed for the mall, where Ellie and Lisa sat in the back seat chatting and giggling. At the mall, we first grabbed a bite to eat, during which Ellie instructed Lisa on dining etiquette. Lisa was grateful for the guidance. Following lunch, we proceeded to the cosmetics store, where Lisa received a complete makeover. The attendant not only demonstrated the proper application techniques but also recommended cosmetics suitable for Lisa's complexion and features. We purchased all the necessary cosmetics as per the recommendations. In the department store, the girls exchanged giggles and comments as we selected nightgowns, bras, panties, and slips. Ellie teased about Lisa getting garter belts and nylons, suggesting they were reserved for older girls, to which I responded with a playful look of disapproval. We also added 2 dresses and a few skirts and blouses to our growing pile of clothing, completing our shopping trip with shoes. On our way home, Ellie requested a stop at the local pharmacy to pick up a few items. I gave her some money, and she went in alone. Upon her return, Ellie shared her purchases with us. First, I got Lisa some rollers for her hair, a nice hairbrush, hairnets, curler covers, a shower cap, and a satin sleep cap. Some nights she may prefer not to sleep with rollers in her hair. Also, some nail polish to match her lipstick. Lisa reached over to hug her sister, thanking Ellie for her considerate choices. As we entered, the phone rang, prompting Ellie to rush and answer it. Lauren was on the line, inquiring about the color of Lisa's gown so her brother could order a matching corsage. Ellie informed her it was royal blue satin, complementing Lisa's appearance. She also suggested Dawn opt for a wrist corsage to avoid any awkwardness in pinning it on Lisa on prom night. Lauren expressed gratitude and ended the call. After tidying up, Ellie spent the evening guiding Lisa through various aspects of femininity, from walking gracefully to speaking softly and sitting with proper posture. The final lesson was dancing in heels, which Lisa quickly absorbed. They changed into nightgowns and returned to the family room, where Ellie proposed painting each other's toenails, akin to sisters. Lisa welcomed the idea. I observed as they exchanged the sisterly activity, then Ellie put Lisa's hair in rollers, guiding her through the process as Lisa reciprocated. Finally, they donned satin curler covers before bedtime. Lisa, adorned in her pink satin nightgown and bonnet, bid me good night along with Ellie, leaving me smiling as they headed to their respective rooms, their hair set in rollers and bonnets in place. On Sunday, Lisa borrowed a dress from Ellie for church. After getting ready, we attended the service. Despite Lisa's nerves about being recognized, she adeptly portrayed a girl, introduced by Ellie as her cousin. Many church members praised Lisa for her elegant appearance. Following the service, we enjoyed a pleasant lunch outing, during which I and Ellie carefully observed Lisa. While a few minor adjustments were needed, Lisa had grasped her lessons well, exhibiting all the mannerisms of a teenage girl. She and Ellie even excused themselves to the restroom together. This routine continued throughout the week. Upon returning from school, Tim would change into Lisa's attire. Both girls prioritized their schoolwork before assisting with household chores and dinner duties. With completed schoolwork, Ellie continued imparting girlhood lessons to Lisa, including dance practice. Lisa adapted to this routine admirably. I couldn't help but notice her increased happiness in the afternoons as Lisa compared to the mornings as Tim. Ellie, who had embraced Lisa from the outset, grew even more accepting of her little sister as the week progressed. On Friday, upon their return from school, Ellie outlined the schedule for Saturday to Lisa. Mike and Dawn will pick us up here. We'll have dinner with Lauren and her boyfriend, then head to the hotel for the prom. There's also a party at Lauren's afterward. And don't forget, we have beauty appointments in the early afternoon for hair and manicures. Mom will assist with our makeup. Any questions? Lisa shook her head, expressing her hope to look presentable and avoid any embarrassment. Ellie reassured her with a hug, affirming that she would be a lovely addition to the prom. After further practice in the art of girlhood, the girls changed into their nightgowns, styled each other's hair, and refreshed their toenail polish. It was heartwarming to witness Lisa embracing her desired identity and relishing the experience. Despite their desire to stay up late, I ushered them to bed, reminding them of the importance of beauty sleep. Reluctantly, they headed to their rooms, perhaps too excited about the upcoming prom to sleep soundly. Saturday morning found the girls sleeping in late. Upon waking, I ensured each took a bath with scented bath oil and made sure Lisa addressed any stray hairs with shaving. When they came downstairs for breakfast, they wore matching sleeveless white cotton blouses and full denim skirts. Ellie had opted for flats instead of heels and persuaded Lisa to do the same. As they ate, they truly resembled sisters, their bond evident though unspoken. Lisa expressed nervousness about the salon visit, fearing recognition and exposure, despite Ellie's reassurances. After breakfast, I escorted the girls to the bustling beauty salon. Amidst a dozen teenage girls being primed for the prom, I joined the mothers in the crowded waiting area while Lisa and Ellie were whisked away for their treatments. While I had witnessed Ellie's salon visits before, I focused my attention on Lisa. She sat upright as the stylist draped the shampoo cape over her, seeming relaxed and even enjoying the shampoo and conditioning. With her eyes closed, she appeared almost dreamlike under the towel. Following the shampoo, Lisa moved to the styling station, with Ellie and her stylist nearby. Lauren, positioned next to Ellie, was also getting her hair styled. Ellie introduced Lisa as her cousin to Lauren, and the girls appeared to hit it off immediately. In no time, all three girls had their hair set in clips and rollers, secured with hairnets. With only 2 adjacent dryers available, Lauren occupied one alone, while Lisa and Ellie sat together. Manicures were administered to both girls. Observing Lisa, draped in a pink shampoo cape, her hair rolled up under a dryer, I marveled at how much progress my new daughter had made in just a week. She smiled as her nails were shaped and painted with a glossy pink polish, admiring the transformation alongside Ellie. Moving back to the styling stations, Lisa and I watched the stylist work her magic from different angles. With skillful combing, teasing, spraying, and a bit of artistry, a beautiful style emerged for Lisa, with curls piled elegantly atop her head. Meanwhile, Ellie received an intricate updo, exuding her own sense of style. After a liberal application of hairspray, I noticed each stylist affixing something to the girls' hair. It turned out to be ribbon streamers, closely matching the color of their gowns. Lisa sported 3 royal blue streamers on each clip, while Ellie had mint green ones. Lauren emerged simultaneously, her streamers in red. She thanked Ellie for arranging such an attractive date for her brother and expressed anticipation for the evening's events. Lisa reciprocated her enthusiasm, expressing her own excitement. As Lauren departed, she greeted me with a smile and a "Hi, Miss Sharon," before leaving. Both of my daughters looked absolutely charming with their colored satin hair streamers. On the trip home, all Lisa could talk about was her enjoyment of this uniquely feminine experience, from the shampoo and conditioning clear through to the application of hairspray. I kidded her and said maybe the next time she could get a permanent. Lisa just smiled and had a dreamy look on her face. Ellie said that her little sister should enjoy and savor each and every feminine experience that she was presented to her. Lisa said that she would. Arriving at home, the girls quickly realized that they had to start getting ready because of their prep time and the time their dates would be picking them up. Ellie went to her room and I went to help Lisa. She quickly undressed, no longer embarrassed to be undressed in front of her mother, thinking of herself only as a girl. She easily put on her garter belt, stockings, panties and bra and then positioned her silicone forms in her bra cups. Before we went any further, I handed Lisa her sanitary pad, which she positioned properly and tucked herself in. I helped her with her waist nipper and then her slip. Using Lisa's cosmetics, I did her face so that she radiated the youthful exuberance of a teen miss preparing for a big evening. I did highlight her eyes some by using mascara to lengthen and thicken the lashes and a touch of eyeshadow. Moderation, though, was the key throughout, from her eyeshadow to her blush strategically placed on her cheeks to the several coats of pink lipstick applied to her lips. Lisa quickly stepped into her heels while I removed her gown from the protective garment bag. I helped her into it, making sure not to muss her hair or her makeup. I then zipped the back and straightened out her hair streamers. Pearl earring and a pearl necklace were Lisa's jewelry for the evening. Lisa then put on her satin elbow-length gloves. She was a total picture of loveliness, and I told her so. She hugged me and thanked me for helping her experience all of these wonderful clothes and the prom. As our embrace ended, Ellie entered the room adorned in her gown, looking equally stunning. I complimented her appearance and adjusted her hair streamers. Both Ellie and Lisa seemed to exude a radiant glow. I spritzed my favorite perfume on both girls and ensured they were wearing just the right amount of fragrance. Then, I escorted my daughters to the family room for photographs and to await their dates. Each girl grabbed her matching evening bag, equipped with cosmetics, tissues, and cab fare if needed. I posed each of my beautiful daughters separately and then together. When their dates arrived, I answered the door while the girls stood waiting expectantly in the family room. Mike handed Ellie a corsage box. Dawn was at first stunned by Lisa's beauty and was slow to hand Lisa her corsage. Ellie already had hers on her wrist when Dawn regained his senses and stammered out an apology before handing Lisa her corsage. When she opened it, she thanked Dawn and told him that it was very pretty. She then slid the elastic strap over her wrist so that her corsage was displayed just like Ellie's. After more pictures of both couples, I told them to have a good evening. I had already warned the girls about the perils of drinking and intimacy, and they both seemingly heard my words. Rather than drive, the boys, along with Lauren's date, had rented a limo. Lauren and her date sat waiting in the limo for Lisa and Ellie and their dates to get in. This was an experience that we had not prepared Lisa for. However, she got into and later out of the limo without having a problem with the hem of her gown. Like the typical worried mother, I sat up waiting for my girls to come in after the dance and the party. I knew they would be late and I just prayed that they would be safe. Sometime well after midnight, I heard the key rattle in the lock, the door open and my two daughters come in. They both glowed even more than earlier, if that was possible. We all went into the family room to talk about the evening. Lisa told me what a wonderful experience it was. Ellie commented on the 5-star restaurant that they went to for dinner. She also said that Lisa was a young lady in her every act and action during the evening. Lisa talked about the prom theme and about the myriad types of gowns that the girls wore. Also, she mentioned how different it felt to be held in a boy's arms while you dance with him. Ellie said that the party at Lauren's was a fun ending to a great evening. Lisa agreed with her and said she would remember it always. Ellie then said, "Mom, you would have been very proud of Lisa. She was your beautiful younger daughter throughout the evening." As I smiled at this statement, I noticed Lisa blushing prettily. "Mom," Ellie added, "I must mention that both of our dates were absolute gentlemen. They didn't hint at any favors." Lauren and Dawn were grateful that my cousin Lisa joined us. Dawn even inquired if he could contact Lisa in the future. Lisa had to remind him that she was only standing in and that he already had a girlfriend. She didn't want to interfere in their relationship. I gazed at my daughters, a smile spreading across my face. Turning to Lisa, I inquired if she was ready to transition back to being Tim full-time now that the prom was over. Before Lisa could respond, Ellie playfully exclaimed her desire to keep her little sister around. "Having a sister to share girl talk, do hair, and paint toenails with has been wonderful," Ellie expressed. "I don't want to lose that. I hope Lisa will still want to be my sister, even if it's only in the evenings and on weekends. I love having her around." Lisa smiled at Ellie's half-joking plea and admitted she had cherished every moment of being Lisa throughout the week. From choosing the prom gown to learning all about being a girl, to the salon treatments and the prom itself, I've loved every bit of it, Lisa confessed. "Mom, if it's all right with you, I'd like to continue being little sister Lisa in the evenings and on weekends, just as Ellie suggested. I love my big sister Ellie, whether I'm Lisa or Tim." Both girls awaited my decision with hopeful expressions as I contemplated their request. Sitting side by side, they held hands, adorned in their prom gowns and hair decorations, yet their faces betrayed their worry about my response. Finally, I addressed them. "Ellie, it's evident how much you've enjoyed having your newfound sister. You've been a fantastic teacher, guiding her through the intricacies of girlish behavior and mannerisms. Lisa, I can see how much you've relished embracing your feminine side. Your willingness to immerse yourself in this experience has contributed to the success of this evening. Personally, I've cherished having another beautiful daughter by my side. I believe it's best to continue having Lisa as an integral part of our lives." Before I could finish, both girls squealed with delight and rushed to embrace me. I reached out, enveloping them both in a hug, tears of joy streaming down our faces, smudging our makeup in the process. Ellie remarked, "It's fortunate we're shedding tears now and not earlier." All that's left tonight is to clean up and head to bed. She couldn't have been more right. And how blessed I am to have a loving, understanding older daughter and a beautiful and remarkable younger daughter and son, all sharing the same body.